This special meeting of the Scott Township Zoning Board will now come to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The meeting will be chaired by Attorney Olivetti. We'll start now.
Thank you. We're here tonight on an application for a variance. The application is by the Scott Township Post Company, and the purpose is to install an LED sign on current signed housing at the fire company. The indication is the LED sign would support the community. It will make weather alerts, amber alerts, etc. And I assume it will also have information related to the fire company activities. And who's here for the fire company? Who's going to speak on behalf of the company? Okay, just the one representative?
Yeah, I'm present.
How about for the record, if you give the stenographer, please?
Stephen Pritchett, P-R-I-D-C-H-Y-A.
All right, and so Steve, why don't you raise your hand, and Carl, and we'll have you sworn in, and Carl will go through the basics.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, Carl, you want to cover the advertising and posting?
Yes.
Things of that sort?
This is a request for relief from section 412.2 of the ordinance, which allows for LED signs, does not allow for flashing signs. At the time when we modified the ordinance in 2008, we modernized it. However, these signs weren't as popular as they are now. Also, because of the area where we have businesses between two houses, and we're a little concerned that they would end up in the wrong places. So they were prohibited in the ordinance. The fire company has requested a variance. The fee was waived by the supervisor, so there was no fee paid. The ad was run twice on the March 27th and April 3rd. The adjoining property owners were notified and the property was posted. And with this due tonight.
Is there anyone here who wants to oppose this application? No? No one here who opposes? Okay.
Just for clarification, also, I did speak to the sign company, and there was some concern brought up originally about the houses across the street at night. It's kind of bright, even though it's not facing them, because these signs are dimmable from 1 to 100. 1 brings it down to no visibility. There is no light flashing, so it really does eliminate the issue with the flashing sign completely as far as everybody was concerned. So, and the fire company can do that unless it's an emergency situation where you want it on at night. They can turn it up, and it can all be done remotely. So, quite honestly,
Is this a scrolling sign, or?
that's it. You can see it out when it's a flashing full size with the graphics and stuff. So it doesn't. There is no house on either side of it. So it's a one-sided sign that faces this way. There's really no house directly in front of it. The closest in front of it will be Joe Ware's. He's on the other side of the road. John Ward and the Bishops live on the other side of the road, and I'm sure that they get some flash from it at night just because it's dark out. But with being able to dim it at night, it's quite honestly, it's a non-issue.
So the section of the ordinance, Carl, is 412.2D, is it?
Yeah, it's in the 2008 amendment, not in the original ordinance. The original ordinance section for signs was replaced in 2008 with an amendment. It allows LED signs, it allows scrolling signs. It, however, has one line in there at 412.2 that says flashing signs are prohibited.
The 412.2D, illumination of signs. Flashing signs are prohibited.
Right, which is something that we're actually looking to modify in the future, and in the future, but for right now, that's what it says.
So the only issue with it is the fact that there's a flashing component.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, it's not, with being able to adjust the brightness, quite honestly, I don't think it's even an issue, but.
The sign's not on fire, is it?
Yeah, three things going here. This is Tom from the sign company. He's the one that can answer the questions about the sign if you have any.
Okay.
Yeah, we shouldn't have an issue with the flash. Oh, okay. All right. Tom, T-O-M, Chernosky, C-H-E-R-N-A-S-K-Y, company represented Dragonfly Signs.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add to it, Carl? You turned it down because of the flashing component. That would be the only reason for.
Right, it's really a technicality because it states specifically the flashing signs are prohibited. I could not give them a permit, but honestly, nobody sees a problem with the sign. It's kind of a technicality of the ordinance.
Let me get to Steve first. We'll get to Steve next. He's not there. He's checking his call.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the sign?
So the flashing that Carl referenced, there really is no flashing on that digital sign. The refresh rate is so quick that it is a seamless transition from frame to frame. So there is no, as you would say, flash. Something comparable would be Cousins Convenient. They have basically the same series sign that we're looking at, and you cannot see the sign flash. It just from one frame of whatever she uses, beer artwork, to the next. It's a seamless transition. So as far as flashing, all of these signs are designed for this particular type of hearing and for the situation where we can't have flashing. It's a PennDOT regulation. We have a billboard on Route 6 in front of A&M Beverage, a pretty substantial billboard. It's 10 foot by 20 foot double-sided on a PennDOT state-controlled roadway, same thing. It'll just seamlessly transition to the next artwork. There will be no flash or anything like that. And we can set it up to where if it had a flash, it could, but it'll be a seamless transition. So these signs are, as they go on every year, they put more and more advanced technology to, cater towards variance hearings and stuff like that. So it's not good.
Would it be fair to say then that the sign, if it were within the range of an interstate highway, would comply?
It would most definitely be compliant. Everything I have on Route 6, which are PennDOT controlled roadways from
anything that's a 4-lane roadway has to comply with
yes.
PennDOT's billboard.
Yeah, so we have to file for the PennDOT permits as well. So and they're basically set up the same exact way. So that's why, like I said, that's why the Hertz, the refresh rate is so fast that it will not look to be blinking or flashing.
And what about the issue of nighttime illumination?
So the dimming issue, two ways we combat that. One is you will have a manual switch on your software, which can be done from any laptop or iPad or desktop computer, and there are 100 settings. So we recommend turning the setting down to 0 as opposed to turning the sign off and on and therefore burning it out quicker. You just rather dim it down. So if we set it down to 0 or 1, it would not be visible at all. Now Ronnie Widiak at P&R, he jacks his up to 100 and you could see it from the International Space Station. That's what he wants the cosmonauts to know, that he's got grapes on sale for $2.99 a pound or whatever. But it's up to the, I guess we talked to Ronnie about it, and he said until he gets in trouble, he's going to keep the thing turned up. But yeah, that's your preference. So that sign. Now the demo model that's out there now that we let them use for a benefit they did for the tow truck driver a while ago. We just allowed them to keep it. That does not have the same capabilities as the sign that we would permanently place there. That's just a demo. It's on a trailer, so you can't really control it the same way, and that's why they haven't dimmed that down at night. If they wanted to, they would have to manually turn it off and on. But the sign that we would be putting, the proposed signage, will allow them to do that. And it also will have an automatic dimmer if we need to build one into it. It'll actually sense the UV rays. It'll turn itself up during the day when it's competing with the sun. It can go all the way up to 13,000 nits. So it'll be 2.5 times brighter than the sun. And then when the sun goes down and the rays aren't as intense, it'll actually know to dim itself down.
And you use the term nits, which is good, but
yeah.
For the record, we should probably explain what that reference.
It's just a term of ambient light. It just lets you know how high that goes up. And 13,000 is pretty impressive. Our signage is probably, I would say, top of the line when it comes to this industry. So 13,000, some are 10,000, but 13,000 means that during the summer, if you guys had a burn ban or something was going on, definitely that message would be visible on the sunniest of days, so.
And on that same scale, if, and I was doing some reading up on this in anticipation of the hearing today, I see where there's some model ordinances that recommend nighttime illuminations of no more than 150, 250 nits.
Yes, and that's what we can turn it all the way down. Like I said, the manual setting will allow us, and I do this with a billboard that I sold to a company called Lane's Cranes and Music. There are 15-minute intervals, so what we do is we look at when the sun rises and the sun sets, and we will actually, you can pre-program this sign out. You can go out an infinite amount of time. We can pre-program that for 10 years, but some people will go to the end of the calendar year. And what we'll do is, as it starts to get dark, if we know that the sun sets at 7, we would then in 15-minute increments, you would see from 6, 6:15, 6:30, 6:45, the brightness level goes down. And again, it's 1 to 100, 0 to 100. So that's how we handle that board on a 502. So they can do the similar.
But that's not nits, is it, sir, 100 nits?
Well, yeah, if we went down, I mean, I could find out what the conversion is to nits, but I would say if we were down around 5%, you would probably be under that nit. I can't say for certain, I don't have the engineering specs in front of me, but I think as far as compliance goes, we would be under that number if we were down at 5% of full capability.
Do we need any more information on the purpose for the sign?
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Is this variance for this one sign, or is this a variance for if, let's say the fire department decided they wanted to put something out on the corner? Is that, are you covered under this?
No, this variance is for that sign in that location. That sign's gonna be permanently mounted to those poles that are out there. Right now, that's a demo sign that they have that sits on the trailer. The sign that they're requesting is not gonna be movable. It's gonna be permanently affixed to those 2 telephone poles. They're not gonna move it anywhere.
It's going where the old sign is still there.
Okay.
You know, the old sign is
So-
there now?
Go ahead.
But to your point, I would probably suggest to Carl at some point, it would probably be prudent to revisit, like he said, as technology changes, these signs used to be innovative. Now I would say a business that asks for a digital sign is trying to be relevant. I mean, they're all over the place now. You can see them popping up. So things aren't like they used to be 10 years ago. Would I seriously give it consideration to revisit the way that the ordinance is set up? Most, I can tell you, a lot of townships and locals are doing that now, just because of the influx of requests. So
We're in the process actually of doing an amendment. That amendment in 2008 was to remedy the fact that the only illumination allowed at that time when I started was the single spotlight pointing up on the ground. So we updated to allow LED signs and that kind of stuff, but then these signs came along. So we are, Rick and I have been talking about doing an amendment to it. So.
Another question is, you're going to program it? Right,
I
I mean,
will.
you said something about any laptop you could.
Okay, yeah, so what I do is I will have a software specialist. Our signs operate on a certain software. It's called SM Infinity. And what I will do is I will send a software, one of the software specialists over to work with the fire hall. And I assume it would be Matt and whoever he chooses, and they will show him how to handle the dim. That's one of the first things they go. They'll also show him how to put his artwork up, little cartoons, whatever he wants to put from
So
Google.
there'll be somebody local that'll be doing that.
Local. But now they can also, now let's just say there had to be a change made, but Matt's out on a call or he's somewhere on the road, he can actually access the software to the sign. Everything is cloud-based, so as long as he has an internet connection, I could actually control that sign right now from my cell phone if I wanted to. So even if no one was at the fire hall and something had to be done on it, they can do it remotely. I've had sign owners that were on safari in South Africa changing their signs back here in the States. So yeah, anywhere in the world, everything's cloud-based. It's pretty innovative stuff. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions?
John, do you have a problem with any lights?
No.
Fish?
In that light, that you brought it up. Is there any piece of ground around there that somebody could buy and then come back and say,
No,
hey?
there's nothing, it's a one-sided sign that faces towards Montel Corners. So the land that would be
You
right
can't see
in
it?
front of it is that land right
Okay.
there. So there is no land there. The fire hall is,
No, we own all that property.
Okay.
right, so there is nothing. It's not like there's gonna end up being a house in front of it. It's just,
Some guys, not in a good mood.
Yeah, no, it's
Buys
not.
a piece of property, puts it up and says, I want that sign on it.
If that should
Even if it
ever,
was a,
if that should ever happen, I mean, and I'm assuming that wouldn't be the case, but if it were, the sign, the way it's mounted is on a single piece of angle iron with 4 bolts. If it had to be transferred to a different fire company, or they had to find another use for the sign as far as to uninstall it, it's a snap, it wouldn't be a big deal, we can move it or whatever. But I don't think that would ever happen, but if it did.
You guys are okay, huh? With this across the street?
Just so the record reflects, you were talking to 3 people who are neighbors.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, and there was no objection from the neighbors.
the only, John had mentioned one time about it being kind of bright at night. So that's why I called Tom about the ability to dim it a little bit if we could.
Yeah, because it's the demo, we didn't have that ability, but this new sign will.
It can be used for church, community, I
Yeah.
mean, not just necessarily fire.
Yeah, that's what the fire company was, my understanding was their intention, and they're also gonna give the township access so that if we put a burn ban in effect or where there's some sort of event, something, we need to put on it again, so.
The only thing we ask as the sign company is we ask that it definitely remains Amber Alert compliant. So if you guys had your own messages scrolling up, if a child went missing, we would ask that that particular artwork run, I believe, at least 8 seconds per minute until the child's relooked, until she's found or he's found.
Is there a reason for that? Is that corporate policy, or is it?
I think that we noticed in the state of Pennsylvania, where we did a lot of business, it was almost a mandatory deal to be Amber Alert compliant, so then we kind of adopted it, no matter, we have signs in over 37 states, and we like to do that with all of our equipment, so it's something that the community appreciates and finds in good favor when they help out, so.
The only reason I asked if anybody had any problem with it, because I had heard in talking on the street, that we're going to move the sign up the road so that it didn't affect anybody, but if no one has a problem with it, I surely don't have a problem with it.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Well, let's take
ready
it.
to call for a vote?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you could just do it by acclamation from the sense.
You can do it any way you want.
All in favor, aye, please?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Okay, 30-day appeal period from any neighbors who are affected and choose to, take the appeal. But, you can proceed with the sign at your own risk. After 30 days, there's no right to take an appeal, and at that point, you're safe as far as installation of the sign is concerned.
Well, the new sign's gonna be less of a pain than this one, so.
No, I've just given you your Miranda rights. You do what you want to do. Okay.
Okay, motion to dismiss?
Adjourn.
Adjourn? Second.